He is.
No, there he is. He being
Rosenberg.
you. He is you.
What's up, man?
What's up, bro? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to Complex Open Late, brought to you by Truly Hard Seltzer, John Legend. Bigger Love's out tomorrow. You look fantastic. You look literally like the sexiest man alive.
Oh, come on. Stop it.
Hold on. Before we get into anything important, of which there's so much stuff, were they like telling you might become sexiest man alive, or did it just randomly happen to your life?
Oh, they call you because you have to do a photo shoot. They call you when they have decided, and they say, they call my publicist first, and so my publicist calls me and says, John, we have great news for you. You're going to be sexiest man alive. And, I tell my wife, and I was like, being sexiest man alive is fine, but it's also terrible because when you win, everybody gets to tell you who else they thought should have been sexiest man alive.
Listen,
it's always a double-edged sword.
People who love you. I love you. I think, and I went on the air and said, this is a farce. He's not the sexiest man alive. I said,
it is a farce. I mean, come on.
Well, listen, let's talk. I want to talk about Juneteenth. I want to talk about the election. I want to talk about protests, everything that's going on in the world. But first, let's talk about Bigger Love that drops tomorrow. What's the theme of it, and how much is influenced by specifically what's going on in the world right now, and how much was done previously, et cetera?
So all of it was done previously. So we finished all of the recording basically by the end of February. And of course, the whole world went on lockdown in mid-March. After the lockdown started, we did some string arrangements, some horn arrangements, everything remotely. And we mixed it and mastered it. So only work that's been done on it since the quarantine started was kind of overdubs and post-production. So all the songs were written before that. Most of them were written in 2019. A few of them, some of my favorites actually, were written near the end of the process in early 2020. But of course, the mood of the album it's upbeat, it's fun, it's soulful, it's full of joy and love. And then of course, the world just went to shit since we finished writing the songs. Not that it was great before, but it was better than this. So, we had to decide, are we still going to put this out, given the, how everyone's on lockdown, everyone's feeling weird. And then, of course, the last 3 weeks we had the video of George Floyd come out and folks being very rightly upset and outraged when they saw that and taken to the streets. And so I decided that, one, when I finish an album, I feel like I should give it to the people. It's done. It's ready. It's a reflection of where I was when I wrote it, which was not too long ago. And let's give it to them, because if I wait for everything to calm down, one, when is it going to calm down? Right. And two, by that time, I may have already started writing something else that will be more reflective of where I am now. And I'll put that out, a year or two from now. Who knows? So I figured let's give it to them. And that's what we're going to do. So when I talk about who I worked with, one, it was Raphael Sadiq. He executive produced the album alongside me. And then the individual songs were produced by a slew of really talented producers. And I worked with a group of talented writers. Some of the producers were like Oak Felder, Ryan Tedder, Cautious Clay, DJ Camper, Eric Hudson. Who else? Charlie Puth. The album is soulful. It's got some reggae, a couple of reggae influenced songs, some more hip hop influenced songs, some straight up, baby making, grown and sexy R&B. It's got a mix.
Did you feel when you were describing the setup? It reminded me of something I read from Jon Stewart this week. Jon Stewart's dropping a movie, and he said putting out a movie right now is sort of like showing up to the site of a plane crash with chocolate bars. Like, I got new music.
Hey, everybody. Who wants some Snickers?
Right. Y'all want to make love right now. But no, I think, what do you think the responsibility is? That's one of the things that's been talked about a lot. It's been especially in hip hop, and I'm sure you've seen some of it. There's a lot of back and forth about what the responsibility is of celebrities and artists. But you're a writer, you're an artist. Specifically right now, what do you think the responsibility is of prominent artists during a time like this?
Well, I think every artist has to decide who they are, what they stand for, what their voice is in the public sphere, and what they care about. And, you know, anyone that follows me on Twitter or follows what I talk about knows I've spent a lot of time and energy focused on reforming the criminal justice system. And that's ongoing. It's not in reaction to one specific incident. It's something that is an organizational thing for me. Like, we have a team built around it, and it's, you know, it's a significant part of my energy, and my time goes to it, even though, you know, I'm primarily a musician, but a significant amount of my energy goes toward that. And so, you know, for me, that's what I want to do, and that's always what I've thought of as part of my job as an artist. I wrote an essay when I was 15 that said I was going to do exactly that. It was from McDonald's. They said, how are you going to make Black history? That was like the prompt for this Black History Month essay contest. And I said, I'm going to become a famous singer, and I'm going to use my success to help my community. And so I literally am doing exactly what I told myself I wanted to do when I was 15 years old. And I feel like this is a mission, and it's part of my life for me. But I don't feel like every artist is in that place and has that passion and has that motivation. And sometimes you don't want to hear from your favorite on every political issue. Like, sometimes they're just better off making dope beats and dope music. And
you have some good friends people feel that way about these days.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't want to hear everybody's opinion on everything. And, you know, if they haven't put in the work to learn about it, if they haven't, you know, talked to organizers and activists to inform their point of view, like, maybe you don't need to hear from them about that. Maybe you just let them make bops that you love to dance to, and then let somebody else talk about the other stuff.
I think you alluded to something interesting too. There's been conversation about whether the NBA, you know, whether sports coming back would be a distraction. But to the point you just made, though, I don't think this is a very short-term thing. Like, this is, we're going to be working, people are going to be going back to life, and this is going to keep going, right?
Until we have a vaccine, COVID-19 is not going away. And until that vaccine is readily available to, you know, billions of people on the earth, it's not going to go away. And so we just have to find ways to be resilient and work around it. And no matter what a politician tells you about what they want to do with the economy and how they are opening things up, you have to follow public health advice. You have to know how the disease is spread and put yourself in a position where you're least likely to get it. It's better outside, like you were saying before I logged on. It's you know, better if you wear a mask. All these things, like, know that. And that doesn't mean you have to stay locked up in your house, but just know that if you're going to leave the house, there are ways to be safer and to mitigate the damage that could be done.
And do you think the same thing about the protests? I mean, this is something that I imagine, you know, this has been, you're talking about, this goes back to 1619. So the idea that this all of a sudden systemic racism is going to get fixed by the fall or by the election, I imagine that this time of protest, John, is something we're entering for a while.
Well, it'll probably come in waves depending on specific incidents. But I was talking to Patrice Cullors the other day, who's one of the original people that founded Black Lives Matter, and it is an ongoing activist and organizer. And I was joking. I was like, people probably think, you know, you're just on vacation until the next video comes out. But of course, they're not on vacation. Like, the organizers and activists are organizing and speaking up about these issues all the time. They're the ones who are ready when these incidents happen to move the conversation. That's why when you see people posting defund the police, they didn't just come up with this recently. This is something they've been working on and thinking about for a while, been organizing around for a while. And when these big moments come, like when George Floyd was killed, you know, the movement gets more attention. But we need to make sure we stay tenacious and persistent in getting the kind of change we want when the heat is turned down, when, you know, there hasn't been a video that has come out in recent weeks. And so that's the kind of work that has to be ongoing.
Let's talk about Juneteenth for a minute. Like this, we've been talking about this a lot in the morning, Ebro and I and Laura. Like, it's fascinating because it's something that's existed for a very long time, since 1866. I, as a white person, as much as I love hip hop and Black culture, I don't know. I barely knew about it. I remember when Donald Glover did an episode of Atlanta a few years ago about it. It struck me of how little I really knew about it. And now you have corporations You know, everyone's recognizing it, giving people off work. First of all, what's your history with Juneteenth, and how pleased are you by the way people are treating tomorrow?
Well, I was an English major with a concentration in African American literature and culture, so I knew about Juneteenth since college. Now, no one in my family celebrated it prior to me going to college, and my understanding of it is it was primarily a kind of a Texas thing, and emancipation kind of came in waves over the years. So, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, I think in 1862, and then that went into effect in 1863. So as the Union Army was, winning territory over, they were able to free slaves through the Emancipation Proclamation over that time. But it took until 1865 for a large group of slaves in Texas to find out that they were free. And that is what Juneteenth is actually commemorating. So it's not even clear which day we should use to celebrate emancipation, but it is clear that it's something worth celebrating, and it's something worth aspiring to, the idea of us being truly, completely free in this country.
Do you think that moving forward after this year, Juneteenth will continue to be a different sort of thing and kind of be this constantly recognized holiday? Or do you think this is going to be like just right now when it's heightened and all these companies are trying to look good?
I think at some point we may settle on, here's the day we're going to celebrate emancipation. And I think that's a holiday worth celebrating. There are multiple days you could pick as that anniversary. Juneteenth is one of them. And if we're going to go with that one, let's go with it. It's in the middle of Black History Month, Black Music Month, excuse me. And if we're going to go with Juneteenth, let's go with that. It has a good name, I think.
No, the name, the whole thing sounds dope. And then tomorrow, you're celebrating it with a versus battle against Alicia Keys.
Yes.
Swizz posted a photo today with the actual dueling pianos. So
yes, we're doing it.
So you're going to be in the same room, huh?
We're doing it in the same room. We're doing it, some of it live. Some of it will probably press play on some of our songs that, could use a beat and all that. But a lot of it's going to be just us singing acoustically right there in the room.
Now, I feel like after Beanie Man and Bounty Killer, it sort of was like, it's been so dope the whole time, but did that one make you think, like, to me, I was like, oh, this is the future. If you can get the two artists in the same room, it goes to a whole different level. Yeah,
we saw it with Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond. And, I just felt like the energy was really good for those. And, the whole series has been exciting. And even when it doesn't go right, is enough for people to talk about, and it's a lot of fun. When there's technical difficulties, that's even a lot of fun. But this will minimize any technical difficulties, and the energy will just be dope. I think we'll be able to sing together. We'll be able to play off of each other. We've been, working together and admiring each other's work since back in like 2003. So it's going to be fun to just explore that history that we both have in this business.
Well, I was gonna say, do you guys feel like, I've never really thought about it, but do you guys feel linked at all? I mean, you're kind of in an oddly sort of similar category.
When I first came out, everyone would call me the male Alicia Keys. And then I opened for her on my very first tour. So as soon as I come out, Get Lifted is out December 2004. Ordinary People starts to blow up in early 2005. And right after that, I'm opening for Alicia Keys on tour. So we played, Radio City. We played all these venues all around the country. And we will forever be linked, I think, because we both play piano. We both came out around the same time. She came out a little before I did. And we've worked together over the years. And, we're actually friends and, have a lot of respect for each other, too.
Is it when you drop a new album, again, Bigger Love's out tomorrow, new John Legend album, when you drop music and you live the life that you currently live, which is like you host on television, so does your wife, you're both wildly successful, you've done quite well. It's different, right? Like you grinded in the music game for a long time. Like, you know what it's like when you're making every song you're making.
Yeah, and music has been my life since I was a kid, truly. I started playing in church when I was like 7, 8 years old, and I've always loved making music, and I put a lot of effort into becoming better as a performer. I still take vocal coaching classes 2 or 3 times a week. I still put a lot of time into developing my craft. So I really do enjoy being successful. I enjoy the fact that we made money. We've had a lot of success. We toured around the world, but I still care the most about the work, and I still care the most about every time I put out a new album, every time I put on another show, that I go out there and impress people, that I don't take anything for granted. And so that's my approach now and has been throughout my career.
So you still have a battery in your back about getting the props for music, not just being famous because you're John Legend at this point?
Oh man, I care way more about getting props for my music. Truly, like I'm happy, I'm successful, I'm happy. You know, I'm on The Voice and all that is great. But if I'm not making dope music and people don't think the music is great, then I'll feel like unfulfilled.
What's dad life and parenting life been like during quarantine?
Oh man, it's full on because, you know, they're here, you're here, you ain't going to work. So we're all together. They ain't going to school. And they love it. So for them, their ideal situation is mommy and daddy are home all day hanging out with them. And so they're very happy about that. But of course, we could use a break sometimes.
It doesn't matter how well one's doing in life, whatever their job is, however big their house is, it's just tiring, isn't it? No matter what, you're just going to end up getting warm.
It's full on. It's 24/7. You're just happy when they go to sleep. You're just like, please go to sleep.
What have you and Chrissy been watching?
What have we been watching? We watch a range of things. So Chrissy and I both like crime documentaries. So
Okay.
anything on Netflix. My team and I produced one on HBO called Atlanta's Missing and Murdered that we were watching.
Tremendous job on that. Tremendous.
Thank you.
Really important story. If people are trying to catch up on just how long there's been madness in this country, it's a story that for people around our age, I'm 40, you may have missed it. You may not remember it well, but if you're from that area and from a certain time, it's an insane story.
It's a crazy story, and it's really interesting, and it's unsolved in a lot of ways. And then we love just random, stupid reality TV. So we'll watch like Love Island UK or something like that. And and then we end up having to watch a lot of kid stuff as well. As you can imagine, Disney, Scooby-Doo. Luna's super into Scooby-Doo right now.
Really? But Scooby-Doo, that's got to be kind of like, I feel like that's better than some of the things I hear parents being forced to be watched. I feel like Scooby-Doo is kind of on the better end.
Well, they made a lot of like kind of direct-to-DVD Scooby-Doo, so there's varying levels of production value.
There's some trash Scooby-Doo you're stuck watching.
Some of them were straight to DVD, and you could tell the budget was lower than the one that just came out with Zac Efron.
Some were like the I Got the Hookup version of Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
So election time's coming. You're doing an event for Biden soon, aren't you?
I just did one for Biden. I'm also doing fundraisers for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee because, elections matter. It's not the only thing that matters, but if you want progressive change, you got to make sure we have the people in office that can actually make it happen. And so, I've been fundraising for some of them.
How many times have you met Biden over the years? It has to be a few times.
Quite a few times, while Obama was in office. I had never met him before, but right leading up to the 2008 election, I met him. And then, of course, whenever we were at the White House for various events, we would take him there too.
Now, a lot of us have strong feelings about this election and very much want to change and think it's of the utmost importance. Some of us can't even fathom the idea of surviving if we don't get a change in November.
Word, I'm one of those.
Exactly. But here's the thing. As much as many of us have a distaste for the president, he didn't actually go at our wife. First of all, will you just take me through that morning when you first saw that Trump was tweeting about both you and referred to your filthy mouthed wife? Like, please take me through that experience from your vantage.
I'm trying to remember the exact, I think it was a Sunday evening actually, because it was Sunday evening because there was a special that was airing that I had taped a while back. It was a criminal justice reform special that MSNBC did. Lester Holt hosted it. I was one of the guests. We were at Sing Sing, which is a upstate New York prison. We were there sitting amongst some of the folks who are currently incarcerated, some of their families. And we had a long conversation. We talked about criminal justice reform. In one conversation, we mentioned the fact that they had passed that recent First Step Act to make some minor reforms in the federal criminal justice system. And soon after that aired, we started hearing on Twitter that the president was talking about us. And it was just so weird because we barely even mentioned him in the special, and we didn't even, talk badly about him in the special. We just kind of ignored him. And I think the idea of him sitting at home on a Sunday night watching an MSNBC criminal justice reform special,
I know,
and like sitting around listening for his name to see if people kissed his ass enough on this special, it was like, what are you doing? Why do you even care about this? And then my wife wasn't even part of the special. And then for her to get included in his shit talking, because he's had a long standing beef with her and he's blocked her on Twitter and he doesn't like any women that stand up to him in general. It was just so surreal and weird. And then my wife, because she doesn't ever need me to defend her on Twitter because she's better at clapping back than anyone.
She's one of the all-time clapback queens. Like, this is what she does.
She just put him in his place, called him a pussy-ass bitch, and pussy-ass bitch was the most important trending topic on Twitter, even though they had to kind of mute it in some ways. But it was that way for, I think, a couple days. And, I think he took an L in this scenario.
And God willing, he'll take another L.
Indeed, in November.
How do you, when you hear people have the conversation about, there's a lot of conversation about the Democrats and what the Democrats need to do and a black agenda and things of that nature. Where do you stand on that? And why do you tell people, when people come at you with the questions about the Democratic Party and some of the things that they could have done better, of which there's plenty, no doubt, and taking black people for granted, which they've done, no doubt. But how do you explain why you still are an active supporter?
Well, because as much as we want to idealize, the kind of presidential candidate we're going to get and the kind of president we're going to get, the bottom line is it's either going to be Joe Biden or it's going to be Donald Trump. And it is abundantly clear to me that Joe Biden will be better for me, better for
Oh no, John. Wait. Oh no, John Legend left. That was horrible. Hold tight, everyone. We're gonna grab John Legend back real quick and wrap this up. I want to hear the point he was just about to make about the choices we have come election time. There he is. It's IG Live, guys. This is what happens. We're back tomorrow night and Saturday, by the way, with 2 big episodes.
Hello, I'm back.
Hello. All right, so you were saying ultimately we have 2 choices.
We have 2 choices, and it's abundantly clear to me that Biden is the better choice. And I think for us, let's when we talk about do they have a black agenda, well, go to their website and read what they say about it, because they actually do. The Biden campaign has a lot of great black staffers on the campaign and policy people that have been thinking about what a Biden presidency should look like for black people and other people of color. And so go online if you care about healthcare, read what their plans are. Go online if you care about criminal justice reform, read what their plans are. Me endorsing Biden doesn't mean I agree that he's going far enough on all these issues, but it does mean that I think he'd be much better on these issues than Donald Trump would be. And in a binary system where there's no other choices, it's important that we vote for the right choice, and Biden is the one for me.
Where were you on election night in 2008?
In 2008, yeah. I was here in Los Angeles. I was at a hotel.
Oh no. I was going to ask him one last question about Versus after Obama, but it feels like we're having an internet problem in the Casa del Legend and Teigen. Oh, wait, you're back. You're back. Yeah, sorry. We're almost done. We're almost done. So 2008.
Me and my band. Me and my band were in the Sofitel lobby in Los Angeles on Beverly Boulevard. I didn't have a house here yet, and I was just sitting in the lobby with champagne at the ready, hoping that we'd be able to celebrate. And, of course, we were able to celebrate. I shed a few tears that night when I saw them in Grant Park and saw, like, older black women and black men who had seen so much in this country and were finally able to see a black president, probably something they thought they'd never seen in their lifetimes. I started crying, and it was a pretty magical night.
No, it was. I shed some tears that night as well. It was amazing. It's been a long 12 years since. Here we are. 2020 now. Tomorrow night, can you tell us anything about the versus battle? Is there any little tease you can give us about what to look for?
I think all you need to know is we're going to be there live in the same room, and there are pianos there, so it's going to be some live music and hopefully some collaboration, and just celebrating freedom, celebrating love, celebrating black music, and celebrating each other's artistry. It's going to be a great night.
Hey, listen, man, I appreciate you. John Legend's album, Bigger Love, is out tomorrow. I appreciate your voice in music, and more importantly, your voice in the world, man. Say what's up to Chrissy, man. Good seeing you.
Thank you, brother. Be well.
All right. Peace, John. That's John Legend, ladies and gentlemen. Back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, with another edition of Open Late. You can follow me at Rosenberg Radio. We also have a huge finale Saturday night, 9 p.m. A huge, huge, huge finale episode right here on Complex IG Live. All right? Yeah, it's going to be lit. Shouts to Miss Haddon. Shouts to everyone in the chat. Appreciate y'all. And we'll catch you next time. Shouts to Truly Hard Seltzer. My producer, Brian, the whole squad. We out. See you tomorrow night, 9 o'clock.